Audrey,
Cindy,
are you ready for August 17?
I am as ready as I can be.
So just to let you know, August 17, why is a big day for everybody? It's because buyer may need to pay buyer's agent commission. So I am Cindy with the Collective Realty, and this is
I am
Audrey
Audrey with the Collective Realty. We're here serving the West Hollywood and surrounding area.
Okay,
Let's get to it.
Let's talk about it. Okay, so what are the big changes on August 17?
I will say that one of the biggest changes is, and we're going to get to the commission in a minute, is that agents working with buyers are no longer going to be able to see a home without signing, by law, a buyer's broker agreement. And additionally,
Additionally, on the MLS, I'm not sure you know what the MLS is like. It's kind of like Zillow for the realtors. They're no longer showing the commission for the buyer's agent. So we have to either call the seller's agent to ask, or we just have to write an offer and request the seller to pay the buyer's agent.
And the biggest change, really, aside from all of that, is that the buyer may have to come out of their pocket to pay the buyer's commission to do a transaction. But there are workarounds.
Well, there are workarounds. Okay, so shall we cover the no agreement, no showing a house first? That's a big one. This is basically the agreement that you have to sign to see a dang house. Seriously. I'm not sure this will create, I feel like it's creating so much more work for us just to show a property.
I feel that it's going to be a lot of work in the beginning. And what I also feel is that, do you know that around 41% of buyers go with the first agent they speak to if they don't know any? And then some people know a ton of agents. But here's the thing, that agents and buyers together are going to be much more selective about who they're working with because they are required to sign this contract.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing is that my concern is always, when I first met you, I don't really know you. Do I really want to commit maximum 3 months term with you? I don't like to sign any contract for people when I just met. You know what I mean?
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but let me tell you the excellent thing about that. And this is why I'm happy that it's coming. And maybe buyers, you'll be happy as well. You are showing your commitment. If you and an agent have a consultation, which is what you're going to have before you sign like anything else, you're going to decide by the end of that brief consultation, can we work together? Should we work together? Do we want to commit to each other? And there's always been an issue from buyers that, I'm sorry, a lot of time, there's lack of commitment. So this will show, might weed out people that are just looking.
Yeah, I understand your point of view. Just from my perspective, I would, it's like dating. You want to go on for a couple more dates before you really commit to that relationship, right? So now you say, hey, I meet you, I go through all these buyers and consultation at the end. Okay, I have to sign this agreement with you. It's a really big commitment. I'm not sure I can even do it myself.
I understand what you're saying, and it's definitely scary, but think of the first conversation as the first date. And if you agree to move on to a consultation, that's the second date. If things are going well, now let's give it a try. And the best part is, as Cindy said, there's only a 3-month commitment. So if it doesn't work out, you're free to move on.
I know maximum is a 3 months commitment, but sometimes I would actually do a shorter period of time just to make sure that we are a good fit. So even though dating, just using dating as an example, so you don't really know until you're a couple more dates in that this is a right fit or not. So I would, just me, maybe I would just do a 1 month commitment to see if we're a good fit. So what are your thoughts?
I think that that's an excellent idea. And I think by the end of the consultation, you'll agree on what does that time period look like. Is it 30, is it 60, or is it the maximum amount of 90 days? And of course, if you're all happy and giddy in the beginning and things don't seem to be working as they should for either side, there are ways to terminate their agreement. I really don't want to put that in there, actually. Anyway. So, the thing is buyers are not going to be able to see a home without this. So whether you like it or not, you are forced to sign it. Whether we like it or not, we can't do anything with you until both parties sign. And that's reality coming, in 2.5 weeks.
I know. So, how do you feel about this commission being removed from the MLS? So, that will add a lot more responsibilities or job for us to basically have to contact all the seller's agent. Hey, are you paying? Hey, how much are you paying?
The buyer commission, there seems to be a lot of misconception that it's set at a certain percentage. And the reality is it's not. It's negotiable. But the buyer does have to agree that if they want to work with any agent, that if the seller does not agree to pay commission on the buyer side, it's going to do that's what's going to happen. I feel a lot of this is going to stay the same, and that if buyers want to attract sellers want to attract buyers to their homes, well, you need to offer something, or you're going to get less for your house or take home less, even more importantly.
It's so interesting that after the announcement of the August 17 big change, I noticed some listings are already putting like no compensation, no concession, or even lower commissions. I'm not sure, sellers trying to take advantage of this big change or what's happening in the market. So at the end, I in a way, I feel like this is not at the buyer's advantage, this change, to a certain extent.
I think it's change more than anything else. And I will tell you that even though this law doesn't go into effect till August 17th, I just put a listing live, and I had to write a new listing agreement, which Cindy helped me with. And what I did was I started doing it the new way. I put a listing in the MLS, which means, a lot of agents and buyers look at the commission, which is absolutely printed on Zillow, Redfin, and Homes.com and everywhere else. And I put 0 commission because I want to do the new protocol. So the seller and I have already worked out a concession of commission for the agent, but you're going to have to call me to get it. And yes, that's creating more work. But the buyer's kind of left out of that. There's so much work that we do as agents that people don't understand in the background.
Right, because a lot of misconception is that, we are the door opener only. So we don't do any background work. We don't need to check on all these details of the properties, what's going on, and in and out. But anyways, so this commission thing, we talk about, the buyer may need to pay.
Or pay a portion. What I like about this is a lot of times, which is really just for agents only, that the commission is set by the seller and we're stuck with it.
So that's a very serious, topic, because when we talk about buyer may have to pay. So I'm working with a lot of on the fence kind of buyers. This big change really kind of make them feel afraid of purchasing.
Well, I think it's the side that I'm going to take is, while it's scary, if you don't want to sign this with the right person for you, maybe you're not ready to buy a house, or maybe there's just too much fear that you feel getting out of your comfort zone if you want to buy a home. So I think it's a good thing, and I like this for buyers and sellers both, because I do feel that it weeds out, or it kind of almost not forces, but really makes you evaluate, do I really want to buy? Can I really buy? Is now the right time? And this is really, honestly, in a way, and I can't believe I'm saying this, that it should be. It's a serious business. It's a serious, huge decision. And this will, again, lead buyers to make that decision. It's, instead of taking you around as a tour guide and you're looking at this and that, but you don't know where the buyer stands. So I think it's just more of a commitment, and it will help people make that decision, that buying decision.
I'm just going to share a little bit of my story. The first property that I bought, I'm actually on the fence. I'm talking about I'm financially on the fence. I've been there.
That's a big deal.
So the first property that I bought, my husband and I barely scraped together the down payment. So at that time, I think that we only put down 5% down payment at a time. That's everything that we have with closing costs. So now on top of that, we have to pay buyer's agent. So that's my fear also, for those kind of buyers. Can they come up with the money if that seller does not offer any form of concession? That's really my fear.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what are the 3 ways the buyer's agent get paid. So at least people don't get confused. Okay, buyer has to pay its only way. So there are actually 3 ways they can get paid. So of course, buyer may be the one paying the buyer's agent. That's one way. Second way is that we still can get concession from the seller. Instead of using compensation, we're going to use the word concession from the seller. And of course, the third way is that the seller's agent is still allowed to share a portion of their compensation with the buyer's agent. Impact on buyers. Let's talk about it. So this new change, we touch a little bit on the impact on buyers. What other things do you think would impact a buyer, after August 17?
I think the biggest one that you already mentioned, especially when you were talking about the first property that you bought, is that buyers might be so concerned that they're not going to be able to come up with the money should they have to pay for any of the commission costs for their own purchase. Again, I want to say, buyer, in my opinion, you're always paying. It's just a matter of how it's worked. So I think that the sellers understand this. And again, I'm going to go back to, it is a cooperative effort. If the seller wants a certain amount of price and the buyer wants a certain house, they're going to come together to agree so that a transaction can take place. And I think we're going to be in muddy water for a little bit. And the model Cindy and I are building, we're really trying to work that out as best we can for the clients.
Yeah, I understand that, in Los Angeles right now, the housing market for certain property types are still quite hot. So my concern, of course, is that there is a competition going on to bid for a property. Now we're talking about, to win the bid, so the buyer may need to come up a little bit more into the purchase price in order to cover the so-called buyer's agent's commission or the concession, hoping that the seller will offer the concession out of the purchase price. Do you think this will increase their closing costs? They have to come up with more money because of the bidding war, plus maybe the commission.
I think that that's an excellent question, and I'm really going to go. That remains to be seen. If there are multiple offers on a property, I think that the seller in their head, if they're going to give any concessions commission, that number's already going to be set. And I think that when there are multiple offers and someone has to overbid anyway to get the property, that is just part of the whole process. I'm not sure. Honestly, we don't know what it's going to look like yet. Buyers might have to pay more towards closing costs and everything else for it to happen. But I think for the winning format could be, well, we're just going to bake it in to the entire offer we write, and it's all inclusive so that the buyer's happy, the seller's happy, and can move forward with putting someone in a house that they really want and can afford.
What about appraisal? We have to wrap in the buyer's commission. We have to do the bidding war. So do you foresee that appraisal is going to be a problem?
I'm really not sure at this moment, especially in this market. It's a little quiet. Property is definitely moving, but it is a little bit quiet. It's also summer right now. People are away. Kids are going to be starting school. And you really have to take all those factors into account with when is the time that the most amount of people buy. Historically, people list and buy a lot of times in March, April, or May. And a report just came out that it actually this year it's going to be September and October, possibly November. So we really, we have to see which way it goes. But again, what the buyer gets is based on many more factors than what you're paying for the home. So in a way, in that respect, try not to get too caught up in that portion and speak with your agent. Communicate.
Right. So appraisal is going to be a very interesting topic, because at the end, if this is a trend that we're going wrapping the commission into the purchase price, if it does not appraise, so we have a couple ways to handle it. It's either we negotiate the price, hoping that we can meet somewhere in the middle, or yeah, unfortunately, if nobody willing to budge a little bit, so that will be a cancellation. So it's hard to say what's going to happen, if appraisal isn't going to be an issue since the market is on a stable side instead of going, up. Okay, so what about the group of buyers that I was talking about, the people financially on the fence? Do you think that group will be underrepresented, down the road? Because I know I heard a lot of agents out there talking about, I only want to work with the seller. I don't work with the buyers anymore. It's so complicated, too many forms to fill out. Why not just deal with the selling side? Maybe I can do dual agency representing seller and buyer at the same time and get paid for sure. Why work with a buyer when you don't know you're going to get paid?
My response to that is without a buyer, you're not selling your house. It's very simple. I don't want to overlook people that are worried or might need assistance. There are so many different loan programs out there right now, which we'll get to on another podcast, that are there to help buyers. But without the buyer and their buying power and their money, you don't have a sale. So I think that this is a great opportunity for agents to capture real buyers that are looking for the assistance to get into a house.
So after all these concerns and maybe potentially problems down the road, how do we help this group? Because overall, I think the ready, willing, and well-prepared buyers is only a small fraction, right? A majority of them will be back in the days when I purchased my first house, I only barely able to come up with 5%. How do we help that group of people to become a ready, willing, super well-prepared buyer? I think that's our goal here, right? How do we help this group of people?
Our goal is to work with people that actually want to get into a home. And how can we help you get there? First, we have to see, that is why it is so important when buyers are working with agents and they want to look at property. You do not look at property until you know, can you afford it? What can you afford? And from that number, based on your down payment and what you qualify for in terms of a loan, you are going to know and feel confident shopping. What area can I look in? What price range can I look in? Why would you want to look for a home without knowing those facts? Otherwise, you might as well go to every open house on a Sunday if that's what I think, again, that this is going to solidify a relationship between an agent and a buyer or not. And that's okay by me, because I want to work with real buyers, and maybe there's people I need to bring up to the point of becoming a real buyer. And that's going to be a task for us. Do we have to bring people up to help them become buyers?
I think we do, because I feel like financial literacy is still a little weak in, just based on my personal experience. People don't really know how to do budgeting, how to save more money, because in this, I would say August 17, this big change, I would encourage more people to save as much as you can if you want to become a buyer, because you just don't know what's going to happen, what kind of deal we're going to get into. So you may or may not need to pay. What if you have to pay? Then what? Where are you going to get the money from? So our role here is not just talking about real estate. So it's about your entire life, even your mindset shifting, because lifestyle is so important among the youngsters. They would rather sacrifice, buying a house or saving more money than just cutting some of these travelings, drinking with friends kind of activities. It's so strange. They would rather keep those activities than buying a home sometimes.
I mean, you never know what, when you're talking with a buyer, you really want to get to the truth. How do you get to the truth so should we continue even talking? I think that that's true, and I think that it will help a group of buyers that are serious make adjust how they're spending and what their thoughts are so that they can actually buy a place. And the one thing I don't want is for buyers to just say, oh, you know what, it's just so much, I just can't. That's what an agent is here for. You have a whole team behind you when you buy a house. You have agents that work with lenders, appraisers, the seller side, escrow, you have inspectors. And so all of that has to come together. Again, how serious are you? Do you want to buy a house? And how do you find the right person to represent you to navigate through this whole entire thing more than ever?
Yeah, I mean, finding the agent is a totally, its own topic, because we have so much stories to share. There's so many different types of agents out there. So your friend, your cousin, they may know you, but they may not be good for the transaction. So that's something, is just my 2 cents. But my after all these changes, no matter with or without this August 17 changes, people really have to think about the money side. Budgeting, planning. So come to us, we can actually sit down and even talk about money, because I've seen clients that actually trying to buy a house for like the past 6 months. They've been actually letting the money sit in a regular checking account for the past 6 months. They gain no interest. They don't understand that's something called high yield. So those are the information that we always share with our client while you are in the process of buying a home. Those are the little tips. Not all agents are, I would say, all-rounded in some manners that would share all different kinds of information or education.
You're totally right. I mean, just like you would always prepare a seller, let's prepare the house. What do we have to do to get it ready to put it on the market? We're going to be doing that, and we have always done that. But now you're going to, there's going to be a little more, you're going to have to do it more to get the buyer to the point of where they want to buy. I have had buyers for 2, 3, 4 years that are still getting ready. And I think fear is a huge factor for buyers. Making that commitment is huge. So how do we help you determine if that's what is best for you? How do we help change your life and get you over the fear factor and put you into a place that will change your life for the better?
So overall, this August 17 thing, it's not really that scary. You just need to find the right person to walk these steps with you.
It's change, and change is scary. And the media, there's all types of talk and fear being pumped into buyers who already have existing fears. So how many of those people do we have to work with to get off the fence, or to decide maybe this is just not for you? If it's not for you, we're not going to, it's not. But if it is, let's work together to get you there. This is just a technicality. It's a big change, but it can be worked through.
Okay, so good talk today. So next week, we are going to bring a lender to our podcast to talk about all these loan programs that could help first-time home buyers, maybe some grants out there that could help you with your down payment. So that is I would say, a very helpful topic for a buyer or people who are thinking about buying a home. So let's wrap this up. I think good talk. I don't think that's anything to be fear about. You just need to take your first step to talk to the right agent. It can be Audrey or some of other people that are knowledgeable with this change, to walk the steps with you, and let's get you into a home.
And if you have any questions, our link is is attached to this video. Please feel free to reach out. We are here to answer questions and help you.
All right, so we'll say bye, and I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Let's talk about the 20% down payment assistance.
That sounds really, really good. It's called the Dream for All. It's a Kyle Half program that provides 20% shared equity appreciation to every buyer that actually would win a lottery.
Okay, by the way, I'm Cindy, and with the Collective Realty. Oh my God, what the fuck?
You can always just start over.
Okay, start over.
Okay. Start over.